One of our tasks as the Chemnitz University of Technology was to work together with our clinical partners to first of all record the material parameters for our 5 steps. This would first be removing the femoral head, followed by hollowing out the acetabulum. The third step consists of the new artificial acetabulum being fitted into place. The fourth step involves the reaming of the femur, so that in the fifth and final step, the implant can then be fixated. And to perform the first 2 steps, we used this highly adept robot. This is a very special kind of robot. We call it a force feedback device. This robot's only function is to generate resistance so that I get the feeling that I'm really pushing against a bone. It calculates a force within a millisecond and transmits that to the robot. And then, when you come up against something virtual, you would notice the real forces. We place very high expectations on haptics in terms of performance, accuracy, stability. And during the impact steps especially, we've noticed that high peak forces of up to 20 kilonewtons occur in the impulses. These are, of course, very high forces, which meant that we had to develop a special device, this impact device, which on the one hand allows these forces to be absorbed, but at the same time also enables movement. Because during these steps in reality, of course, the instruments also move in the direction of the impact. We prepared the 3D objects to allow for this. First of all, you need an anatomy that works for real-time systems. For this, of course, the skeleton and the muscles all have to be taken into account. And the muscles have to be pulled apart. And that's why they don't lie as they would in a standard anatomy. And therefore the tissue above them, i.e. the fat layer and the skin, the vessels, the nerve pathways, the lymphatic pathways, all has to be taken into account as well. Our task in the project, the main task as FACT software, was to put together all the components supplied by the project partners, whether impact devices or force feedback devices. The training system itself was developed using gamification approaches. There is a very context-sensitive feedback system which analyzes errors and provides the trainee with the appropriate information at the end of the exercise.
We at USE were actually responsible for the didactic concept. This means that we spoke directly to the experts, in this case surgeons, but also male and female doctors and orthopaedic surgery residents. We interviewed them and repeatedly invited them to tests or sessions in order to find out more precisely what is actually relevant for this residency.
It's really a very good product that matches the haptic effects or the haptic congruences with this virtual reality, and it's a quite fantastic result. It's really good for us, of course, because it means we can improve quality, and especially for the young colleagues and, of course, ultimately for patients too. That learning isn't carried out on human specimens, so to speak, on patients, but here in a secure, let's say illusionary world where nothing can happen, where the error flashes up and there's no great danger for the patient. The feedback from our clinical partners is very good, and that's what's provided the motivation for us to cooperate with them more closely and to actually start training doctors on this in a pilot project before they go into the real operating theatre.